Good morning, my beautiful babes and babettes. I'm your resident active advocate, and I would like to talk to you today about the physical side of proper disability etiquette. When it comes to this, as I mentioned yesterday, there may be a lot of just ingrained understanding in a non disabled person's mind that the person using an implement or a dog might need help to do certain things. And this is sort of an intrinsic understanding nowadays because we see these implements being used and they're very visible signs of disability. And while it is a good instinct of the social body to want to help one another, and it is a noble instinct to want to do so, especially if you think that you are more capable or more competent than the person in question. The fact that you believe yourself to be more capable and more competent is the issue here. I'm not saying that people's hearts aren't in the right place. What I am saying is that they have been taught to do the right thing for the wrong reason. People with disabilities are not intrinsically inferior to people without. I know that you know what my beliefs are on this. You know, the whole idea of the continuum model. I am a firm believer that no one is intrinsically worth more or worth less than anyone else. Disabled, non disabled, anything, I don't care. So, when it comes to helping a person out, firstly, ask, okay? That is a very intrinsic part of being a good advocate, of being a good person in terms of dealing with the disability community if you just don't know how. I'm going to tell you how. Firstly, ask, okay? Secondly, this is my cane. Say hello. um, if you see someone who uses an implement to help themselves get around, or, hearing aids or that sort of thing, service animals, don't touch, not without permission. That includes both animals and implements. As a wheelchair user, for example, your wheelchair is an extension of your body. It is not a substitution for your legs. It is a substitution for the functionality of legs. Okay? When you see a person like me going down the street with their cane, and I am visually impaired enough to need a cane, I tend to only use this when I am in unfamiliar territory. Isn't it long and pretty? But this is an extension of the functionality of my eyes. So when I'm doing scanning along the floor, I can find stairs, I can find inclines, I can find rocks and, impediments, anything in my way using this. Do not touch this without my permission. Do not touch a person's implement, and especially do not touch a person's animal without their permission. In terms of animals, those are thinking creatures in their own right. So if you distract them from what they are doing, and it is a job that they are doing, it's not that they have a pet. These animals are actually in service of the person's eyes, in the case of a seeing eye dog, or, a stress animal, things like that, something that people need in order to help them get on. There are dogs who are trained to detect the coming on of seizures because I don't know, I think they may be able to smell the chemical change going on inside a person's body. There are different instances in which animals are needed, and they are themselves tools. They're not pets, not when they're on harness. Now, this may be a person by person preference kind of thing, but as a general rule of thumb, when you see a service animal on harness, not on leash, on harness, okay? That animal is currently doing their job. They are currently employed. They are currently concentrating. The person using the animal needs the animal at that point in time. The only time at which it would be okay to touch the animal is when they are on leash or when they are resting. Even then, however, because the animal is an extension of the person's body, at least in effect, ask the person's permission before you interact with that animal in any way. And I even mean patting them on the head. You know, no touch. Don't touch. It's not good. It's not respectful to the person who uses that animal, and it's not respectful to the animal who is trying to do their job. So there's those, but I wanted to share a story of someone I know. She is blind and she uses guide dogs primarily, but at this point she was between dogs. She had retired a previous one and was going to get a new one, but she was on the street using her cane, and this very well-meaning, I'm sure, lady came up to her and said, "Here, I will help you across the street," grabbed the end of her cane and started tugging on it to lead her across the street. A. No. B. That's also not how you do sighted guide. If you ever want to know how to do sighted guide, ask the person about their preference. But again, the general rule is that you allow that person to grab your elbow rather than you grabbing them or grabbing their implement. Again, though, everything that I say here boils down to a matter of personal preference and especially to a matter of consent. Consent is especially important because, as I keep saying, these implements are extensions, effectively, of our bodies. You wouldn't touch a person's leg to help them walk, especially not without their permission. We would consider that quite the violation of boundaries. People without disabilities would consider that a violation of boundaries. There is no intellectual difference, there is no moral difference here between people with and without disabilities. So, in terms of the wheelchair user, you wouldn't grab onto their leg to help them walk better. So, don't grab onto their wheelchair to wheel them across the street or wherever, even if they look as though they are in need of aid. Always ask first. I think that asking rather than assuming is not only the respectful thing to do, but it's the thing that needs to be done in order to form that bond of understanding I keep talking about in this series. Like I say, treat the person with the disability as though they did not have the disability. And I don't mean to disregard it in that it is not a part of the person's character. I mean to respect that person in the same way that you would respect anybody else, because this is only one aspect of what we are. It is only one aspect of who we are, just like with any other trait. I have brown hair. Hooray. You know? So it's just like that, only it may appear to be more troublesome, more bothersome, more obvious than other traits, but it's only one thing. And it is because of that that I think boundaries need to be set by the person in question, not by the people around them. And those boundaries need to be respected. Respect, permission, kindness, empathy. These are the things that everyone needs, not just people with disabilities. By the way, there is a tradition among me and my best friend, who is also blind, that we name our canes. My current cane's name is Jessica. Jessica! So, yeah, I know it's kiddish, but I don't really care. So, that is the physical side of disability etiquette. Tomorrow, I would like to talk more about the intellectual side of it, slash moral side of it. I've made a lot of conversation points on this already, but there's a lot more to get into as of tomorrow. And thank you for your lovely attention. Hope you like my implement. She's very pretty. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for the view. Bye. Mwah.